Welcome to the deep dive. If you're listening to this, you're probably feeling it right now. That intense pressure cooker that is the end of the year.
Q4 squeeze.
The Q4 squeeze, exactly. It feels like every deadline is suddenly multiplying, and your personal time is just, well, getting swallowed whole. If that sounds familiar, this deep dive is for you. So we're getting tactical today. We've pulled together a whole stack of material, and we're really focusing on one piece called A Workaholic's Guide to Reclaiming Your Holiday Time.
A very necessary guide.
It really is. Our whole mission here is to pull out the concrete strategies. How do you handle a relentless inbox? How do you delegate without losing control?
And the big one, how to set boundaries, the kind that actually protect your focus and your health.
Yes.
And it's so important to just start by saying how common this is. I mean, we live in a culture that treats being busy like it's a badge of honor.
Oh, absolutely. A moral virtue.
Oh, it is. If you're exhausted, you must be important, right? The sources we looked at, they really validate this. Nearly half, 48% of working Americans call themselves workaholics.
Wow.
And the result of that pressure, it's stark.
Yeah.
77% of professionals say they're feeling burnout right now.
77. That's most people.
It is. And this isn't just about being tired. The truth that the really successful leaders get, the ones mentioned in these sources, is that you just don't sustain peak performance by working 24/7. It's actually counterproductive.
Right. And that's really the core of our deep dive today. It's about a mental shift. We're not looking for ways to just handle more work.
No.
We're focusing on this fundamental truth. Your brain is your number one tool, and it absolutely requires strategic rest to function at its peak. It's essential infrastructure, not some optional bonus. Okay, so let's jump right into the first big strategy, which I think is critical for anyone feeling buried right now. We have to dismantle this myth of urgency.
This is the source of so much stress. The material points out that most of the things we label emergencies at work, they aren't real five-alarm fires.
Right?
They're described as, and I love this phrase, poorly planned projects wearing crisis costumes.
That's perfect. We internalize someone else's bad planning as our immediate life or death problem.
Exactly.
And we have some really practical tools to fight back against that panic. The first one is something we're calling a notification exorcism.
Love it.
If your phone is constantly buzzing or your desktop is flashing every time an email lands, you are just forcing your brain to switch tasks over and over again.
And that constant switching, it doesn't just annoy you, it literally depletes your cognitive fuel. So when you turn those alerts off, you're making a deliberate choice. You're choosing focused work over reactive work. It's a huge psychological win.
The second tool is about challenging our default setting, which is always speed. We have to clarify deadlines. We have to stop just accepting ASA as a real thing.
Right. ASAP is not a deadline.
It's not. If someone sends a request like that, you have to push back a little, professionally.
Just ask the question, when do you realistically need this by? Or my favorite, if I make this my top priority, what other task should I deprioritize for you?
Ooh, that's good.
It forces them to own the timeline. And what you find so often is that ASAP actually means sometime this week or whenever you can get to it. Just clarifying that lowers your stress level immediately.
But the tool that I think is truly indispensable here, the one that gives you that immediate perspective, is the 555 filter. It's a mental maneuver you run the second you feel that panic rising over some perceived crisis.
And it's pure perspective management. It's so simple, but it works. When you feel that knot in your stomach over an email or a task, you just ask yourself 3 questions about time.
Okay, what are they?
For first, will anyone even remember this crisis 5 days from now? Second, will it matter in 5 months?
And the last one.
Will this even be a blip on the radar in 5 years?
Let's walk through an example. Say you get a nasty email from a client on a Friday afternoon, a minor change on a draft report. Your gut instinct is to drop everything, ruin your weekend, and fix it right now.
The classic scenario.
Right. But if you run the 555 filter, you realize in 5 days, that client will probably be focused on something totally new. 5 months from now, the report will be long done. And 5 years from now, no one is remembering the tone of that one email about a draft.
So the appropriate action isn't panic. It's a calm, professional reply first thing Monday morning. It just pulls you out of that emotional spin cycle and gives you back control.
So if we've successfully used that 555 filter to figure out what's not urgent, the next step is, well, what do we do with the work that's left?
Which brings us to rule 2. Reassess your to-do list.
The to-do list. The source of so much anxiety.
Exactly. It's a source of anxiety, not achievement. because we treat every single item on it as if it has the same weight. If your list requires time travel to complete, the list is the problem, not you.
And the key here is ruthless prioritization. That means applying the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
And the research is so clear on this. 20% of your effort will create 80% of your results. So the real challenge for you, for the listener, is figuring out what those golden tasks are.
Exactly. And that means you have to go beyond just checking boxes. You need to distinguish between high-impact work like strategic planning or writing a key proposal and the low-impact stuff, scheduling, organizing files, admin tasks.
Your 20% is that high-impact work.
Right.
A really quick tip from the sources on how to find your 20% is to just do a mini-time audit for, say, 2 days. Just track what you're doing. You'll see pretty fast that filing invoices, while it has to be done, doesn't move the needle like, say, refining a launch strategy.
And prioritizing isn't just about doing the 20% first. Sometimes it means giving the other stuff permission to just die. That's the idea of the not going to happen list.
I love that, the not going to happen list.
If a task isn't serving that 80% outcome, just let it fade away. Give it a strategic death.
That concept, strategic death, is fantastic. It takes willpower, though. You have to accept that sometimes good enough is actually good enough.
Or that some things just don't need to be done at all.
Right. And while we're talking lists, a small but really crucial tip for your workflow: schedule breathing room. Don't do back-to-back meetings. You just look like you survived a tsunami when you show up to the next one. Build in 5 or 10 minutes of buffer time.
That buffer is key. And it leads us perfectly into Rule 3, which is called strategic laziness. We have to learn how to delegate.
Delegation. This is so hard for high achievers. It can feel like you're admitting defeat or that you're just creating more work for yourself.
Which is why strategic laziness is such a brilliant reframe. It's not about being lazy. It's about knowing what not to do yourself. You maximize your impact by focusing on your unique 20% tasks and handing off the rest.
Okay, but let's tackle the big objection. Someone listening is definitely thinking, but isn't it just faster to do it myself? I have to explain it, check on it, maybe fix their mistakes.
That's a totally valid short-term view, but the sources are clear. The goal here is long-term capacity building, not just short-term task offloading.
Okay.
So yeah, the first time you delegate something complex, it might take longer. But the 10th time you delegate it, it takes you 0 time. You've freed up your own resources permanently.
Yeah.
That's the strategic win.
You have to start small.
You have to start small. Use what the sources call a training wheels approach. Delegate low-risk tasks. Things that, if they crash and burn, the world won't end. You build confidence in yourself as a delegator and in your team as someone who can take on responsibility.
And I love this concept, mask task to talent. You might absolutely despise putting together a data report.
Oh, for sure.
But someone on your team might actually love that kind of detailed work. Their brain is wired for it. The spreadsheet you dread can be someone else's idea of a fun puzzle.
And this is so critical. When you delegate, you have to offer context. Never just dump the task. You have to explain the why. What's the goal? How does this fit into the bigger picture?
What does success look like?
Exactly. You teach people how to fish instead of just handing them a fish. That way they can handle similar problems on their own next time. So we've gone from managing the work to protecting the person doing the work, which is you. This is Rule 4. Set firm boundaries.
Yeah, and in that workaholic mindset, boundaries can feel like a weakness. But all the research points in the opposite direction. Boundaries are non-negotiable health maintenance.
They're not about being mean or restrictive.
No. They're about making sure you can operate at full capacity so you can lead and perform better over the long haul.
And if the idea of setting some huge boundary feels, overwhelming.
The advice is to start small. You don't have to start by telling your whole company you're offline after 5 p.m. Start by just turning off your Slack notifications during dinner, or for the first hour you're awake. Protect those small, sacred pockets of time.
And maybe the hardest part of this is the communication. So many of us will silently resent a late-night email, but then we reply to it instantly.
Creating a terrible feedback loop.
The worst.
Yeah.
The only way to stop it is to actually use your words. State your boundaries out loud, even if it's just to your immediate team. Hey, just so you all know, I'm offline after 6 p.m. until the morning.
You can also let tech be your bouncer here. Use time blocking on your calendar. If you need 2 hours of deep work, block it off, call it focus project, and treat it like a meeting with your CEO.
You have to.
And this next point is so vital if you manage anyone. Your personal habits, they set the culture. If you send emails at 10 p.m. or reply on Saturday mornings, you are silently telling your team that they should too.
even if you say they don't have to. Your actions are louder. You have to model the behavior you want to see.
Absolutely.
Which brings us to what might be the most difficult mental shift of all for a high achiever. And that's Rule 5. Reframe how you think about rest.
A big one.
Yeah. We have to kill this assumption that rest is a prize you get after all the work is done.
Because the brutal truth is, the work is never all done. The to-do list is an endless stream. If you wait for inbox 0 to take a break, you'll burn out long before you ever get there.
You will. Rest has to be seen as an ongoing necessity, not a future reward.
And this isn't just a feeling. The stakes are scientific. The Sleep Foundation's research is so clear. A sleep-deprived brain has significantly impaired cognitive function.
It's your executive functions, right? This stuff in your prefrontal cortex, decision-making, emotional regulation, risk assessment, it's all compromised when you're tired. You literally make worse decisions when you skip sleep.
Which means rest isn't a design flaw to be overcome. It's a fundamental feature of how we work efficiently. Your brain requires downtime to process information, to make new connections. Those brilliant aha moments, they almost always happen when you step away from the keyboard.
Because your brain is finally switching into a different, more creative mode.
So how do we actually do this? How do we make rest actionable?
First, you have to block time for it. Schedule recovery time on your calendar, just like you'd schedule a client meeting.
Yeah.
And treat it as sacred. Don't let things creep into that time.
Second, figure out your actual recovery style. It's not one size fits all. It could be going for a run, which is physical recovery, or it could be, competitive napping.
I'll get at that one.
Me too.
Yeah.
But you also need mental recovery, doing something completely unrelated to your job to use a different part of your brain. Find the mix that refills your tank.
And finally, a great piece of advice for changing how you measure your own success. Judge results, not hours. Nobody actually cares if you put in 80 grueling hours if you could have gotten the same or better results in a focused 40.
Aim for efficiency and embrace the rest that comes with working smarter.
Wow. We have covered a lot of ground today. From, stopping the panic with the 555 filter all the way to the science of rest. Breaking that workaholic cycle it's a real challenge. It takes awareness and practice.
It does.
But I think the big theme here is that busy is just a state of action. It's not a personality trait. That's a great way to put it.
Our goal here was just to give you the tools to be more strategic with your energy. The core takeaway from all these rules is that you have to ruthlessly protect your greatest professional asset, a rested, well-functioning brain.
That's a powerful summary. And to avoid that paradox of choice, feeling overwhelmed by 5 new rules.
Yeah.
Here is your one actionable takeaway.
Just one.
Just one. Pick one single tip we shared today and implement it this week. Maybe it's turning off notifications during dinner. Maybe it's just clarifying the next ASAP you get. Start small.
Small wins.
Exactly.
Okay.
And one final thought for you to take into your next workday. If we accept the idea that the most successful leaders practice strategic laziness, we know the 80-20 rule says only 20% of your effort is driving 80% of your results.
Yeah.
How much of your current 100% effort is actually serving that 80% outcome? And how much are you doing just because you feel like you have to be busy? Just ponder that ratio.